Hello, good morning. Saturday morning. Coffee. Okay, so I've been in the beauty industry for 18 years, ran my own wedding business. So having a Saturday off is it's so exciting for me. So good morning if you're joining me live. Thank you so much for being here. I very rarely have a Saturday off, so it feels pretty amazing to be off this week. This whole week, my husband's been off, and we've been doing like a staycation. We went camping with the kids, and we went to see some dinosaur things in Virginia Beach and Town Center yesterday. So we've just been really busy and having fun and enjoying our summer. So I hope you are too. So today I just wanted to hop on with a live about some business stuff and some life coaching things that might help you around resistance. So yesterday on Instagram, my Instagram stories, I shared some things about resistance and how it can kind of show up for you differently. So with resistance, it can show up as procrastination, it can show up as fear, it can show up as letting go of the past. So there's all different ways that resistance can show up for us. A lot of ways it's like a self-sabotage. Like we have something that we want to do, but we keep talking ourselves out of it. The procrastination, it's like you know that you want to do it, you feel like you want to do it, but then there's so many reasons not to do it. And so that comes up, that's resistance. And so we really need to face that head on. And what is stopping me from doing this? And it's usually not because you don't want to do it. It's usually fear stopping you because it's something that feels maybe a little scary or outside your comfort zone. So, and then also fear of success. Like I've had a really successful business and I burnt myself out. And so now that I'm building my coaching business, I don't want to burn myself out again. Burning yourself out is really hard to get back from that. So, resistance can show up in so many different ways. And when you realize it and you can kind of face it head on, then you can overcome it. Then you can move on from it. And so, if you're having procrastination or self-sabotaging, or you're having fear about something, or you're having, a hard time letting go of something of the past. So it could be even something that keeps showing up for you. I keep feeling this, keep reliving what happened in the past. You can confront that head on and say, what is keeping me from moving on from this? And sometimes you just have to forgive the situation or forgive the person or forgive what happened so you can move on and let yourself be clear of it, be free of it. So resistance can show up in so many different ways. So we also have a lot of resistance to success, which is so strange because we're like, no, I want the money, I want success. But then when it really comes down to it, we're afraid of what it will mean for our lives. We're afraid of what it will mean for us having to show up all the time. So we can actually fear the thing that we say that we want the most. And so if you have something that keeps coming up and it feels like resistance, you may want to just do some journaling around it. It really is just having a journal and saying, I'm feeling this feeling. I don't really know why, but this is how I feel about it. And then usually something will start to come up and you'll start to get this this kind of awakening of oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that I am afraid of that. And I didn't even understand it or know it, but it's what's been stopping you from the success that you say that you want. So resistance can be sneaky and can pop up and we don't even know it half the time. So it helps to journal and get those thoughts onto paper, because if we keep them in our mind can tell us crazy things, So definitely work on journaling around the things that keep coming up for you. If you are having resistance to things in your business, maybe you say you want to do a website, you want to put your website together, or you want to create a course, but you keep putting it off, or you do it and you just keep going and you just keep perfecting it and trying to make it perfect, that can also be resistance, because sometimes it's easier to stay and that safety net of I'm still working on it, I still need to get it perfect before I let it out into the world. And then you just keep working on it, and then you never just go. So I heard something really great on the B-I-Z Chicks, C-H-I-X podcast the other day. Be okay with B-work. And I don't remember who that came from or where that came from, but be okay with B-work. It just means it's never going to be perfect. I mean, it could be, but it's going to take you years and stress. And so just let things go, get it good enough. and then let it go. Especially when you're at the beginning of your business, you really don't know what works. A lot of times you're really just throwing spaghetti at the wall because you don't know if having a course is going to work for you, if having a membership is going to work with you, having a free Facebook group. Like, there's so many different things that we can do for building our business. We don't know until we try. And so you kind of just have to do it. You just have to hit the live button or, put that website out into the world and see what happens. A lot of times we think that our business is going to look a certain way, and then it totally doesn't. And so get into action. The action is the hard part. Like dreaming about it, thinking about how you want your life to look. Like the visioning part is the fun part, but the getting into action is actually the hard part, which keeps most people stuck because they don't get into action. So definitely want to do that. Get in, figure out what starts working for you. So when I started doing video, I named Kim Porter TV because I loved the TV part. I loved video. I love getting on video. I love sitting in my studio and recording videos and putting out educational information on videos. But I also understand that live has a big effect on our business and how it shows up in the algorithm. So, you kind of have to just get on live and do it. And it's scary and doesn't always, you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like at any point, a kid's going to walk out the door, because I'm sitting outside. So at any point, something's going to happen. Somebody's going to come out here crying or something. You just never know with live. It's a lot harder to control. But you just don't know what's going to work for your business. So you kind of have to try different things. And you're never going to know until you get into action. So for me, it's like with my coaching business, I thought I would be coaching makeup artists because I've been in the beauty industry for so long. I've built a successful makeup artistry business. Like, of course, that's what I would, that makes total sense. But when I started getting into it, I also had other parts of my story that resonated with other people. And so going through burnout, going through a transformation in my life where I became more awake of my my consciousness, my feelings, and my power to be able to be a creator. And so those things actually resonated more than the makeup artistry stuff did with the people who I thought my target market would be. So, you think you're going to start with something and then it totally changes. So you really have to listen to your audience. You really have to listen to people and say, what is really resonating with them? What is it about me that has them interested in wanting to learn more? And so it may not be at all what you thought it was going to be. And that's okay. I mean, that's really like, there's so many facets of us. You kind of have to just kind of put everything out there and see what people want from you, because you can design, and actually I've been feeling this and seeing this a lot lately. People are designing courses and, putting up websites and designing courses and putting all this stuff out there because they think that's what they should be doing. And it's not working. It's just not working for them because they're putting stuff out that they think that their target market is going to want, but in reality, that's not what their target. Oh, butterfly! Let me see if I can turn you around. Oh, and he flew away. Well, they're so quick. I always try to get a picture of them, and they're so quick. Oh, he was pretty. He's black and orange. What is that? A monarch? I think it's a monarch. So, see, live video. You're like, wait, what? What just happened here? What was I talking about? So they're putting these courses together. And actually, I've been seeing a lot now of, I get a lot of sponsored posts on my Facebook, I guess because I'm in coaching, that, are geared towards other coaches. So I see a lot of stuff. And so now they're like, oh, I created this whole course and had this great funnel and I heard crickets. And I think that's actually like more common than people are talking about, that we create things thinking that's what somebody wants, but then nobody buys. Nobody's buying. Nobody's interested. And it's because you weren't listening. So you really have to show up first, show up and share. So share your story, show up, and then it starts to actually become more illuminated for you, like what it is that you're really gifted at and what people really want to learn from you. So, you don't spend so much time in the beginning just creating this beautiful website and this, amazing funnel and, the email market, everything's like just set up perfectly. you're so automated that, you could step away from your business for days and no one would even notice, but then you're not selling anything because you actually haven't listened to what people really want from you. So I think it's so important. That's why it's starting with one-on-one coaching. I just feel that really deep in my heart of like, when you start with one-on-one coaching, you can actually hear what people are struggling with. You can use their language and you can kind of get deeper connection with them than just starting with maybe just a course outright. I've taken a lot of courses and I've just been really craving one-on-one. So I think my clients are feeling that too. Like they're really just craving this one-on-one, like humanness part of business, because I feel like we can start to automate things so much that we lose that touch. So I'm definitely focusing on one-on-one because I feel like that's kind of where I'm going to get the most information about who my target market is and what she wants from me. So, I think talking about this and resistance and how, fear can really paralyze us. So if you're feeling fear around something, and that could, any part of the business, the startup part of it, we can get stuck on, oh my gosh, what if I pick the wrong colors? Like, what are my branding colors? I picked the wrong color in a couple years, you want to change it? So change it. No one is ever going to be like, oh, you changed your branding. Like, I'm done with you. Like, you changed your color from pink to blue, and I just can't handle this right now. They weren't meant to be your, ideal client anyway. So just do it. Just get it good enough. Get that B- thing going, and then just put it out in the world, because we're going to be paralyzed by fear. We're going to not do what we are called to be doing because we're so afraid that we're going to get it wrong. And so it's okay, if we get it wrong. I think it's okay if we get it wrong. I think it's okay if we make mistakes. It's just lessons. Failure is just a lesson. And I know I've been through a really horrible failure before, and so I know what it feels like to fail and to feel like this whole like guilt around it, and this almost like not trusting myself. Like I, built this huge makeup artistry beauty bar, and was miserable, and was just feel like I was not living in my calling, wasn't living in my purpose, wasn't doing what I was really called to do. And that felt like a failure. And for a long time, I really struggled with it because it felt like I had, how do I put this into words? That like I no longer trusted myself to make decisions, big decisions, financially big decisions, because I'm like, well, you did this one and then you weren't happy with it. How do you know that you're not going to do that again? And it's been a struggle. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, like how to trust myself again. And I think that goes with listening, really listening, because if I had been listening to myself, all the bells were kind of going off of like, maybe this is not what you want to do, but I kind of pushed it aside and went for something because it felt like that was supposed to be the next step for me. That's what I saw. People who had done, were on the track before I was. People were ahead of me. Someone who had been doing this longer or had a more successful business than me. That's what they were doing. They were hiring big teams and having big studios. And so that felt like that was supposed to be the next step for me, even though the bells were actually kind of going off from the beginning. So, it's really important to listen to ourselves. And sometimes that means listening in action without clarity. The path is not always going to be clear. It's not always going to be completely lit when you first start. It really is just one stepping stone at a time. And the more you do it, the more clear it gets. And a lot of times you're doing things that do feel out of your comfort zone, and fear can hold you back and paralyze you and keep you from getting into action. But if you're not in action, you're not actually building. You're just sitting around planning. You're just sitting around daydreaming and visioning, which is a great tool to use. But if you don't actually get into action, nothing's ever going to happen. And so, it is about designing your life, envisioning, but then also putting into action these things so that you can move forward, because otherwise you're just going to be stuck. Or in the next 6 months, the last 6 months of the year, if you keep doing what you did in the first 6 months, nothing's going to change. So you got to get into action. You got to just do the things that scare you so that you can move your life and your business forward. So I'm going to hop off today. I am shocked that the other 4 family members, nobody came out and said anything. So can't promise that will always be that way, but they're pretty cool. So if you get to meet them, they're fun. But I'm sure inside is crazy right now, especially the 3-year-old. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for catching this live. And this will be posted on the Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel. You can find that it's Kim Porter TV. I actually had to just cancel the URL because it was under the makeup thing, part of the business. So I'm actually getting a custom URL. But if you just search in YouTube Kim Porter TV, you should be able to find it. But this will also be on the Kim Porter TV Facebook page as well. So thank you all and have a happy Saturday. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.